Hello everyone, welcome back. So far we learned how to include images. Just as a reminder, please don't forget to include the package graphic X when you're calling when you're including the images. And also, if you would like, for example, here when you're having two figures, it is putting the first figure and then the second figure. However, what if you want to have two figures or four figures next to each other? So one figure, second figure, third figure, fourth figure. So if you want to have the figures to be attached from the side to side, you need to include the package that is called sub caption. And after having that, we need to have another code to let it work like that. So basically, we were having this part of the code for the first two figures, and these two figures are for this part of the code. Okay, so basically in order to do that, we have a begin and end of the figure exactly like begin and end of the figure exactly like above. However, we are still having the centering and we are having the centering. However, this is the difference. In order to have one figure, we are having begin, centering, and then include caption, label, and end. Here we start with begin centering and we have begin subfigure. When we have the begin subfigure, it means that there are like at least two figures that are going to be side by side at least, or they are being included in one figure part into two subfigures. Because if two images are too large, they're not going to be side by side, but they are going to be like this, vertically attached. Okay. So then we have the begin subfigure, and you type down the part that you would like to have. For example, the width, you type down where you would like it to be. For example, here it is B. You can leave it to be H, you can leave it to be T, H, T, depending on what you want. And then you include the figure and you have the caption here. So you have subfigure A. So subfigure A is the caption for the figure A. For example, you can say the left figure here, and you can say, for example, lecture 3, and then you have the caption and label, and then you finish. Then we have one H line, H fill, making it to go to the end of the line, making the second figure to go to the end of the line, as you see here. And then we have another subfigure. The width is going to be chosen, the image is going to be chosen, and you have the subfigure B. Instead, I would say the right figure, and here I would label it as to be lecture 4, for example. Okay, and we have one caption here for figure 3. So this is figure 3A, this is figure 3B. So when I recompile, you see that figure 3 is having A, that is the left figure that we wrote here, and we have figure 3, that is figure 3B, that is the right figure here, that is this part here. So, and I could say this figure describes lectures 3 and simply 4. So when I recompile, I see it here. So if I'm going to have lecture 3 and 4, if I'm going to cite figure 3, in general, I'm going to use this label because this is for the begin figure. And if I'm going to cite the right figure, because this is the part specifically for 3B or the right figure, I need to use this label. And if I'm going to cite this figure, I'm going to choose this label. So let me just start typing here. I am now talking about the figure on the left, and then we have the ref. Then I am talking about the figure on the right. Then we have the label of the right. Finally, I am talking about the figure in as a whole, so we can say 3 and 4. So when I recompile, okay, so you see here we are having, I'm now talking about the figure on the left, which is 3a. So 3a is cited here exactly in the text because we were referring to this label. Then I'm talking about the figure on the right. We have 3b. Sorry, this is a typo. So we have 3b here. Then I'm talking about the figure on the right, 3b. So here we are having the label that is for the figure on the right figure. And finally, I'm talking about the figure as a whole. So when I'm talking about the figure tree, this label is simply used. So this is how we are going to have subfigures and how we're going to manage labeling these figures as a whole and individually. Thank you for watching.